evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. Clinton and Adam here, as we are usually, most of the time. How you doing, bud?
I'm all right, man. How are you?
Hey, without looking at the top of the show, just look me right in the eye here. What's the name of this program? Do you know? The official title of our show that we've done
Yes, but
215 times.
I call it Rivalz Race Chat.
Yeah, that's not the official title that we have on our logo, though.
It is not the official title, but I don't like the connotation of the other name.
So we have a name of the show for 215 episodes now that you don't like, but we're just living with it. Just can pretend it doesn't happen. I think we could officially just call it Rivalz Race Chat at this point. We were doing a whole online gaming thing, and that's how this whole thing got started. 4 years ago now. And it was Race Rivalz was the name of the online game. And then we started this race chat to discuss it, and here we are 4+ years later. So I think we're going to just change it. Rivalz Race Chat is what we're going to call it from here on out. You cool with that? So
yes,
that's what instead of RRRC.
Because Race Rivalz sounds like a white supremacy group. It's just got the wrong...
I didn't think you were going to say it that way, but okay.
Yeah, I don't love how... But like you said, we were doing exciting things. I look at what's going on with gambling right now, Clinton. We had the opportunity. It was just the wrong opportunity, but the time was... I think our timing was bang on. It just turned into a big lump of shit.
Another one of our... where we were already buying jets and cottages and never made it happen.
GeForce TV never would have happened, or not the way it did. This program never would have happened.
True.
We could even argue that the Action Sprint Tour and Knights of Thunder might not. Like there were multiple reasons to get those things off the ground, because we did have these ideas in the background, and with no racetrack to host these events, shit needed to happen.
Action Sprint Tour was out, but it definitely needed some help and point fund help, and it all came down at the right time where we got some opportunities to take some TV money and put it towards the sprint. Because I think that's lost on our guys sometimes, but man, I could go off on a whole hour about, feelings and concerns at Ohsweken, but we're not going to get into that too much today. We're going to have some fun. So you and I just talked about, would Dalton Slack be a third or fourth generation racer? Either way, eons before he was ever conceived, the family's been knee-deep in it. I guess we have one of his relatives, second, third cousins, Hunsinger, coming on the show. They got to be related. They both fell from that same tree at some point, right?
Yeah, it's a second cousin. Their dads are first cousins, right? Bob
I just
Slack
realized
and Dave
that.
Hunsinger,
I wasn't thinking that. Doug Leonard coming on.
I'm terrible with that.
To talk about the World of Outlaws and his new role there, and how that whole process came to be, and how he was there. And how he is there now. And then Dave Hunsinger, his replacement's going to come on at Ohsweken and talk about it. Everybody knows Doug, but maybe it's time to start introducing them to Dave. And Dave, in the press release that came out yesterday, said, Dave's calm, and I think he's going to bring great demeanor to what we've got. We also got Larry Jackson coming on the show to talk about NASCAR Canada and what his season's going to be like. Just the economics of racing here in Canada. Larry's one of the lower budget teams, openly lower budget, openly will run old tires just to get through the races. We got to figure out how to get Larry some help and get him up there, because he's one of the genuine personalities. He is a firefighter. He's a captain in, I believe it's Mississauga, and he's out there tonight. And he said he'd be on as long as he's not saving life. And
that's it.
Not even joking.
Not even joking. If he gets a call, he's out. Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Can we call the new race director at Ohsweken Speedway New Doug?
Well, when he comes on, you can ask him that.
I mean,
you can ask him what he thinks of that.
There's lots of Daves. I think New Doug has a good ring to it.
What about these are the Daves I know? These are the Daves I know. Like
exactly.
This is one of the Daves I know. So Dave will be coming on to talk about what it means to him to take over for his buddy Doug. So we'll get a bit of that. Let's finish off the rundown, then we'll jump back into it. Dalton Slack will be joining us soon. If you don't know Dalton, he's a big block modified racer in the Super Dirt Car Series, Short Track Super Series, everywhere all over the dirt. So we'll get him on to talk about that. And also on the rundown tonight, We're going to talk about Adam. Went to Port Royal on the weekend with Connor. We'll talk a bit about his visit there, show some pictures, talk about that. I will bring you an update on Southern Ontario Motor Speedway in Buxton after my meeting with the family, the Marshes, who are taking it over. We'll talk about NASCAR tire and attendance at Bristol. I think that's a bit of a smoke and mirror show that brings some light on. We'll talk is Max Verstappen hurting Formula One. Adam's going to talk slot cars, and then we'll talk about 410s. Starting to outcast the 360s in the States, and will that happen up here? Those are the topics we've got. Anything you want to chat about, let us know. We'd love to hear it. And we're 9 weeks away from Buckton Speedway. Man, that's like a freight train running at me. We were just talking about that before we came on the air, how the days are rolling at you, man. I just don't know if it's because I'm over the hill and rolling downhill.
Well, yeah. You didn't realize that?
Well, the gray hair is showing that off now.
Buddy, don't even.
Feathers.
You're like 10 years older than me, and I have way more gray.
Okay, I am not 10 years older than you.
Give or take.
How old are you?
I'll be 40. What year is it? I'll be 49 this year.
Dude, I got you by 2 years, you asshole.
That's a big 2 years.
10 years. What a dick.
Yeah, but you've lived harder, right? I'm soft. I've
got 2 race directors and 2 referees coming on to back me up here, so you better start behaving. Let's talk to Dalton Slack. If he's ready, Spencer, send him into the dungeon here. We'll get a word with Dalton Slack. Dalton, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate it. First off, we know you're a big block modified racer. We watch you race all these things. And we've seen you race Merrittville in the past. We know you're off to Canandaigua, I think, this year. Let's talk about, first off, how old are you, man?
20 years old.
20 years old. Yep. Now, answer me one more question. I'll turn you over to Adam. Do you consider yourself a 4th-generation racer, 3rd-generation racer? Adam tells me Grandpa Bob did do it way back in the day. Great-Grandpa Bob.
Yeah, I would probably say 4th generation. There's some old pictures back in the day of Grandpa Bob racing mini stocks at Cayuga Speedway, so I would consider myself 4th.
Right on.
You know what? If you really want to break it down, it's almost your dad that breaks the tradition. I mean, not that he's not every bit a racer, but he walked away from driving to do bigger and better things. And you're one of the better things that he came up with, Dalton. So congratulations. That's like winning the dirt modified lottery.
Yeah, I guess so. He raced go-karts for a while, and I guess he just came to his senses and realized he's probably better at doing setup than racing. But he tells me all the time that he wasn't a good racer, but then he tells me stories about traveling all over the country when he was building go-karts and him racing, and I think he was pretty good back in the day.
He was pretty good. Don't let him fool you. Dalton, congratulations on a phenomenal run at Port Royal. That was fun to watch. How was it to be behind the wheel?
It was great. It was definitely Friday was a little bit chaotic. We got there Thursday and they had the track pretty opened up and they didn't think it was going to rain at all. And I guess it rained a little bit at the racetrack overnight. And Friday they lost the track by the 2nd or 3rd practice session. They tried their best, and I give them full credit. They did a great job at trying to get the track back. And then Saturday they completely redid it, and it was like night and day difference. It was like 2 different weekends. We went there Saturday, and we're typically better in the slick track than we are in hammer down. Just something about the bumpiness and the chaos of it. I don't really like it. So when it's slicked off, I enjoy it a lot more. Saturday started 16th and then worked my way up to 6th. And then the last restart just ran out of fuel. Yes, it was topped all the way. Everybody's been asking me that. It was topped to the top. But just, it was just kind of trying to save as much as I could. And I obviously didn't save that much. But still, can't say enough about our weekend. I think we ended up 12th.
You turned some heads. Here's what I don't get, Dalton. I understood Billy Decker charging up to 2nd spot. I understood Tim Fuller moving to the front as the race went on. What I didn't get was you and Loudon Reimer, a couple of young guns, making that same charge. Like, it was the kind of track and the kind of race that lent itself to veterans. And you and I talked about this briefly after the race. Loudon went on to finish 3rd, man. And from the race that I watched, you had every bit the car he did, just that yours ran out of fuel. Why on earth were you able to perform in that race and put yourself in a position to have a top 5 run when it seemed like a veteran style race?
I watched the highlights again, and like we were still like 20th with 25 laps to go. Like we were not nowhere in contention. And I think Oswego last year kind of just like helped me learn patience. Definitely Oswego was like 200 laps and 150 laps, and this year at Port Royal was 75 laps, but it's a half mile. Like it's a big racetrack. So I think I just kind of bought my time at the beginning. I'm not really a great short-term racer. Like it takes me a while to get to near where I need to be. So kind of rode around in 20th for the longest time. And then, the good guys passed me and showed me a couple lanes, and a lot of cautions came out because people, weren't taking care of their tires. And I felt like I did a good job. And, after the race, I looked at my right rear and it wasn't canvassed. It still had tread on it. Same with the left rear. And just kind of, I can't say enough about Dad for setting up the race car. He gave me, as the race went on, the car got better and I got better. And it kind of just all worked out. I mean, if we didn't run out of fuel, by no means were we going to win. Top 3 might have been a stretch. I think we were probably either 5th or 6th, but like you said, I think we definitely turned some heads.
Dalton, when you're in a situation like that, we have the benefits of TV or being there. We see all your competitors having tire issues. They got the flow cameras are right there where we're looking at the cords coming out. What kind of indication do you get in a race like that? Now they've taken radios away from all these big races for you guys. Are you getting any kind of indications? Are your dad or grandpa trying to give you any help to give you signals? How's that breaking down for you as a driver? Do you know what's a problem? Are you getting any signals? How's that whole thing come about?
So the biggest thing that I think I could base my decision off of was watching the sportsman race before us. There was a big time period before, and they did redo the racetrack, but it rubbered like fast, and they were just kind of blowing tires left and right. And I was kind of just paying attention to that and seeing what they were doing and all that. And typically, they redid the racetrack, and I cannot say enough about Port Royal Speedway. Probably one of the best facilities in the country. I've been to Eldora. I've never been to Charlotte, but my crew guy, Paul Gabori, he said that by far, probably close to Charlotte. It was beautiful. So with them redoing the racetrack when we were all in the infield, I kind of just paid attention to how deep they were getting it, and they tilled it, but they didn't till it deep enough to the point where it was going to stay heavy. With the American racers, they are a softer tire. You could put a durometer on a Hoosier and you could put a durometer on American Racer, and they're typically softer. So I knew most people went out with a 56, which is the second hardest compound. And I knew they're just too soft. So just trying to keep the car straight as possible, and kind of helped with my go-kart days because it's just like driving a go-kart. You kind of just go in there as easy as you can and turn left and make sure that you're not sideways for as long as possible. If you have to, then you have to, but being straight as possible is the easiest and the best thing for a tire and for a track like that.
So Dalton, I just got one more question for you. I appreciate you taking the time. With the success that you had here in this event, what do you look forward to now? What sort of events are you circling on the calendar thinking, you know what? I think we can go out there and really perform.
Well, Port Royal has definitely helped with the whole entire race, wanting to race more. Obviously, Dad and I both have racing products. Grandpa, he's busy too. He still owns the trucking company, Transport Sales and Service. And we all still have jobs, but with good runs like this comes more opportunity. So most definitely there's a couple races, American racers races like Utica Rome that I think most definitely we would like to travel to. Some early on races before we get to Ransomville. There's a season opener there. But just the bigger races with the more cars, I think we are definitely more confident with. I'm not going to lie to you. I told everybody, I said, if I made the race this week, I would have been happy. So running 6 was a stretch, most definitely. But I think as the year goes on, I think we'll be open to traveling a lot more. Not that we haven't traveled already, but just racing more and trying to get as good as we possibly can.
Dalton, I got a couple quick ones for you. First off, how was it for you when you've had to give up the seat? Your dad's put some other big guys in the car. At other times, you've kind of stepped aside and seen a guy like Tim Fuller get in your ride and do great things. How does that? Most young guys will be pissed off about that and be like, "Man, it's my seat." How's your attitude? Is that something you feel you can learn from a guy like that?
It's the whole entire timeline of since the 3RS started to now. It's really never actually like physically kicked me out of the seat. Billy Dunn started, and I was too young to race. I was still racing go-karts. Tim Fuller, he got in the race car for Super Dirt Week, and that was just purely based on my experience. That was the time I only raced Maryville weekly, and definitely was probably not the right idea. I like to kind of ease into things. I don't really like to rush into it and not make myself look silly, but just more experience, the better. And then Eric Rudolph, and that was last year's deal. Last year, we did not think we were going to race the big block, and there were some circumstances that happened. And so Eric had that ride already lined up. And so at the end of the year, I got the chance to race the big block, and probably the best decision that we have made. But you can look at it two ways. You can look at it with, you could be pissed off and not appreciate the people, but then you can also step to the side and realize that, you got Tim Fuller, Matt Shepard, Billy Decker, Danny O'Brien, and Eric Rudolph, probably 5 of the best to ever do it. And you can just pick their brain and see how much knowledge they have and try to take that knowledge and use it towards your racing. So I think those guys racing in our car has helped me tremendously. Just on the racetrack, off the racetrack, how you hold yourself, how you treat people. Most definitely, all 5 of those guys are class acts, and I am really, really thankful for them racing in our race car.
Awesome, Dalton.
Dalton,
Just want to know where you're going to race. Where's you going to race this summer, and then we'll let you move on.
Friday nights are going to be at Ranceville. We kind of want to just keep our small block program intact. Now that we travel more, we have more opportunity to race the big blocks. Friday nights will be at Ranceville. Try and keep it close to home. And then Saturday nights, we're going to head to Canandaigua. Going to go there just, seeing how the track is and all that. The end of the year, they figured the track out. It seemed to be better. And then we're going to follow the Super Dirt Series as much as we can. I don't really want to go to New Egypt. It's far, especially because we work full-time jobs. So, but most of the Central New York races will go to the bigger races and hopefully some bigger American Racer Tire races for sure.
Dalton, you're well-spoken. I know you must get that from your mom. But I was really impressed with how you handled yourself as well at the racetrack, like a young professional, and you took it all very well. So congratulations, good luck, and it was a pleasure chatting with you a little bit down there.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it. And thank you for having this platform for us racers, for getting our voice out there, and I really appreciate it.
Just like your dad, we weren't much as race car drivers, so we had to find something we could do.
Hey, I don't blame you, right? Whatever works.
You got it. Have a good night, man.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Adam, these young kids impress me more and more, but when they can talk like that too, it's just so good for the future of the sport, man. I've known Dalton, not really known him. Like, I see him around, but we've never really talked. And that's one thing of this platform. We get to see a different side of these guys, which is cool.
So after the race, Connor and I wandered around and we walked up to his car. We wanted to hit the road, but I did want to talk to him and say good job. And we walk up at the front of the car. He was signing an autograph. And then he turned to me, but there was someone right behind the autograph seeker who was there before I was. And he turned to me and says, just hang on 1 second. Do you mind? Like, he just was very aware of what was around him and what he needed to do. And I just thought it was so impressive that he had his shit together to the point where he addressed everyone he needed to address, did what he had to do while the crew was busy putting stuff away, but like he knows his role.
Right on. Speaking of knowing your role, got changing roles. Doug Leonard joining us now. Doug, first off, buddy, congratulations.
Thank
Bravo.
you. Thank you very much.
For you to get this, Adam and I consider you a brother. Super proud of this whole thing. Man, we've seen you come from, out of nowhere. Dave said it multiple times. Your dad must be smiling down. So congrats, man. World of Outlaw, race director. Shit, man, that's huge.
It is. I mean, it's a great opportunity, once in a lifetime, and just had to jump on it. I got to thank you two for getting my start in this. I mean, you needed somebody to work the one-way radio. Well, you guys were actually the race directors, but also the commentators, and it just evolved from there. And when Ken Pelkey came in, he let me run with it. 22 years later, here we are.
Doug, how often do you think about your dad and what he would think of what you're doing? He lived for being at the racetrack, and it was seamless. You came in, your dad couldn't do it anymore, and he was always welcome to be at the track, but it wasn't safe for him to be an official after he had his stroke. So in you came, but how often do you actually think about that? How cool would your dad think this was?
Daily. I mean, I've got a big picture of him underneath one of the clocks in my house, and every day I make sure I take a moment to look at it, have a conversation as if he was there. I wish he was here, and he'd be proud, and I've teared up myself and that over this whole deal, and that because I wish he was here to experience it.
I could do that pregnant pause because I bet Adam 3 beers we can make you cry tonight. So, we're well on the way.
I get emotional. I get more emotional. I used to make fun of him because he'd cry a lot, over stuff that his kids do. Now they've had Harper, I find myself doing the same thing. So I can't make fun of him anymore. So,
Doug, let's get down to the business of it. First off, do you have an Oshweekend date for us for the Outlaws yet? That's what I got asked today. That's what you're expecting. We traded you for a date, so you got to make that happen. But obviously having you work inside biggest cheerleader, bring it back home. So if we ever had a shot, now we got one. The real question, though, Doug, leaving all 3 tracks, we have Dave going to join us here in a couple minutes to talk about how he's going to fill your role at Oshweekend. But Maryville, Humberstone, Super Dirt Car Series, Maryville put up a poster looking, not sure what Terry's doing this year. I'm sure the Super Dirt Car Series has already making plans for you, as obviously they were in on it, working for the same company. But what do you know, and where is all this going to shake out?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't burned any bridges, and that's the main thing. I mean, you wrote a nice letter for me for my process and of getting my visa approval. Dean Reynolds wrote one as well. Jeff Hockmans wrote one. Don wrote one. So all have been involved. I've told Don and Lorraine I'm certainly going to help them on the sidelines, behind the scenes as much as I can. So we're going through a process to help them hire a race director. You and I have talked about a replacement for myself out of Schwiegen, and we both recommended Dave, and he's going to do a great job that way. Dean and I have discussed who could be a replacement for me on the Super Dirt Car Series side, and they're going to go through a process and interviewing a few candidates. So, I mean, when one door closes, it opens for someone else. So everyone's going to fill in and pieces are going to fall in place, and everyone's going to be fine.
They will, Doug, and nobody is irreplaceable. I like to think we all bring something to the table that's pretty unique, pretty special. But any one of us can go away, go somewhere else. There'll be someone else to fill the role. But you've made such an impact on how you run the shows, not just at Oshweekend. If anyone's gone to a dirt race in this part of Ontario, they've seen the flavor that you bring to the track. And it's not even limited to that. You worked at Flamborough Speedway for a while. How much different is it? So, go ahead. Talk about the impact you've made.
It doesn't hit me because I don't look at it that way. I'm there to do a job, and nobody taught me this. There's no schooling for it. There's no education for it. It's just me learning it as I go and on the fly, going to different racetracks and listening to different race directors and being like, hey, maybe I can use that, or maybe I can use this and put a different spin on it. Hey, you know what? I don't think that works. And it's just a matter of opinion, and I've come up with something that seems to work. Is it perfect? I don't think so. And there's always different ways to improve. I mean, even now with doing what I'm doing, Don Graby, who has been a long-time World of Outlaw sprint car race director, is there beside me. Certainly leaning on him a lot. I had a quick conversation even with Mike Hess last night. He said, anytime you need some help, reach out. I mean, there's some big shoes to fill there. So it's just, you just make it your own. And Dave's going to do the same thing. I've worked with Dave, longtime friend of mine, one of my best friends. I've worked with him during the Demolition Derby days and all this stuff. He owned the company before I bought it from him. So he's going to do great. I've listened to him do drivers meetings, very well spoken on it. I know you guys are in good hands that way.
Doug, when it comes down to it, this should be some of the easiest race directing you've done. No, like these guys are pros. You got, they know what the deal is. How much of a change is this going to be on your style of race directing?
I don't think it's going to change. I've had some good conversation with a lot of the drivers already. I used a lot of the verbiage and the language that I've used at our Buckton Speedway. Front rows firing together at that chalk line and rows 2 on back are bringing it nice, tight, square, and even. And those that I've spoken to say, hey, you know what? I really like the way you say that. So that part of it's good, and you're bang on right. That's the biggest change. Is I keep reminding myself that these guys are the ultimate professionals. This is the pinnacle racing series on dirt in all of the world, and I can't mess with their income. I mean, everybody does it locally for fun and money and all that stuff, but this is what puts bread on the table for these guys, and I certainly don't want to be the one that influences that for them.
No, but you know what, Doug? As much as the thing I've enjoyed most about you as a race director, as you know, I don't agree with every call you've ever made.
Is there anything you agree with anybody?
Sometimes.
Yeah, you get them, Doug.
But I've always enjoyed and respected how you back your own call up. But no matter what it is, you're going to stand up, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's the call I made. It's not easy to do. It's impressive, Doug.
It's not, but I mean, I use this analogy. This position is just a matter of an opinion. And the three of us can go to a baseball game, or we can sit down at a hockey game, and we can be like, hey, this umpire is great. He's calling the strike zone. I mean, letters to knees, and it's within the margin, like within the play, and it's perfect. And other people are going to be like, oh, my gosh, that wasn't a ball or a strike. And I mean, as long as you can justify your decision, right or wrong, you have to live with it.
Doug, what's some advice you're giving Dave? Dave, welcome to the program. We'll talk to Dave in a second, but he's patiently waiting there. We might as well watch him all patiently waiting. What's the best advice you've given Dave, or what's the one thing you've told him so far, Doug, about this deal? Now, he's had the benefit of listening to you on the radio, and as Adam mentioned in the press release, we've had time to move everybody up. So congrats to Carter, who's getting a big promotion, and he's worked his whole life to be a starter, so great on Carter. Dave didn't really want this job. We're like, well, you got voluntold, old boy. So you're in there. What's some advice you've given Dave or want to give him about taking the reins at Oshweekend?
I mean, the advice I even got last night is just call it whatever your gut says, call it, stick to it, and be consistent. My best advice to Dave won't come from me. It's actually going to come from Harper. Her and I had conversations of me having this opportunity and what it would mean. And I said, hey, baby, you can come on the road with Daddy and you go to different races. And she says, I'm staying home and want to go Friday night and sit in the push truck with Ashley. So that's her plan. She's going to be there Friday nights. But she said, Dad, whoever's going to replace you has to be funny and has to yell at the drivers. So I told her that it could be Dave, and she approved. So Dave's got to be funny, and he's got to be mean at times. She'll be good.
Welcome, Dave.
Thank you. How's it going, guys?
Hey, do you mind if we go by New Doug?
That's a little weird, but that's a little weird. But I guess
I'm more comfortable with New Doug.
You do what you got to do, right? So,
well, if he's going to call you New Doug, you can call him Ugly Clinton, and we'll be all right.
I'm sure I got enough time from now to the start of the season to think up of some stupid name for him. So,
no, but Dave, seriously, Oshweekend is a tight-run ship. Doug's run a good program for all these years. You've been a part of it since a few years before the pandemic. What are your feelings on being, the new race director and stepping into that role?
Well, I mean, first of all, congratulations to Doug. I mean, that when he first started talking to me about it a while back, it was just like, take it and run with it. And I'm still smiling ear to ear when I think about it and how proud I am of it. Right. And when he mentioned it to me, I guess it was probably back at the end of January, he mentioned to me more serious about it. And it's just like, my wife and I talked about it and hey, let's take it on and do it. Right. So it's going to be exciting time. It's going to be fun. And, there is going to be the tough calls to make, but that's the position too. Right. So.
Dave, now you have a hockey referee shirt. Have you actually been a referee, or is that just like a costume you have?
No, I did ref. I did ref hockey as high up as I think it was midget or juvenile or something. And then got married and had kids and stuff, and reffing kind of just went by the wayside. So I'm used to the verbal harassments and the verbal jeering and everything everybody gives you from that standpoint, right? So, and I did break the ref shirt out for Clinton there. I think it was last year or the year before when we had an issue out there. So it'll come out.
You did. I wasn't sure if that was just part of your role playing collection or because it's similar. It's different, yeah. But it's similar. When you're an official of any competitive event, you have to have a different kind of mindset. So it does help that you've had that in the past. So here's hoping we don't have to disagree too much.
Doug and I both had the privilege of working with Roger at the Caledonia Fair doing the demolition derbies. I mean, we were 14 or 15 years old and working ringside there and, having him in our ear barking at us with things to do and that. And, it's just kind of evolved from there. And it's kind of like Doug said with race directors and that, right? Like, I mean, obviously everybody knows my brother for the racing and don't really know me because I just let him have his glory with it because I am the better racer, but he had to be good at something too. So, but I mean, it doesn't mean I wasn't involved in any capacities either, right? So, I was always involved out at Jacassa, Cayuga and that, and had Alex Nagy and Trevor Hambley and on the headsets as well. And I've worked with Doug since we've been 14 to see how he operates, and most recently at the Speedway out at Ohsweken there, right? So, it's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be fun.
No, we're super excited, Dave. I think you're the right man for the job. When Doug first said, I'm leaving, I was like, oh, man, what are we going to do? But, as soon as we started talking with you, I'm like, yeah, it's a perfect fit. We're going to let you go, Dave. Thanks so much for stopping by. We just want our racers to get a look at your beautiful face and the ones to be giving them their driver's notes and what they're going to need to know going forward at the driver's meeting. So, Dave, welcome to the team officially at the in the throne up in the tower, and we'll be talking to you soon this summer.
Thanks. Looking forward to it. We got a great team out there and can't wait to get it started.
Right on. Dougie, we'll give you a couple more minutes, then we're gonna let you go. Doug, what's your next event that's on your calendar? I'm pretty sure you went to Florida with the Super Dirt Car Series. What's your next race that you're off to now, and when do you get this gig kicked off for yourself?
Yeah, it's actually already started. I haven't missed a race yet. I was there mentoring in the background and all that stuff, and now I'm certainly in the official capacity. It started this past weekend. We were at Cotton Bowl Speedway in Texas. I go back to Texas. I actually leave Thursday morning. We've got 2 shows this weekend. One at Big O in Ennis, Texas, and then we go back to Kennedale, which actually got rained out. But we had one of the tracks unfortunately had circumstances where they had a fire in their VIP suites and couldn't get it fixed in time. So we rescheduled the Kennedale. So we go there and then we continue on with the season basically every weekend all the way through till November.
What are you looking forward to, Doug? As far as tracks or events that you're going to get to work, is there anything you're thinking, man, this is just going to be powerful?
They can't knock the Knoxville Nationals. I've heard nothing but good things and great things about it from the competitors. I've had the chance to meet the manager already down in Florida. My coworkers have talked about it, so that's certainly high on the bucket list. Getting a chance to go back to Eldora Speedway is certainly going to be a highlight as well. So the biggest opportunity for me is I had a quick conversation with Tim Miller today, and he says you got to be scared about going to tracks that you've never been to. That actually excites me. Get a chance to tour all over the United States and go to states that I've never been to and tracks that I've never been to. So that's the most exciting part. I mean, it's been a great team. We've had a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie so far. And Carlton Reimers, who's our series director, and that he's actually commented on that I've gelled well with the team, and he likes how the team's working this year.
Adam, we bitch about how many flights we have to take for our NASCAR situations here. Doug, I looked at the schedule and did a quick count. Over 50 times you're going to be on an airplane this summer, man. That is stupidly insane, man. Your arm's going to be so tired by the time you fly everywhere. Hey,
so far I've cracked up 18,000 air miles. So
the last question I got for you is, what's been the coolest message you've got? Like, maybe someone you didn't expect to reach out, or someone just that meant a lot to you. What was the message that got you this week after the news broke?
From like a driver, or from
anything,
a fan?
Just that one message that struck you at the heart.
One of the competitors today or on the weekend told me that my voice turns them on. I didn't know how to take that. I mean, I guess he likes the way I say things and that, so it kind of made me laugh on that. But no, it's been positive all around. I was really extremely overwhelmed with all the comments yesterday on the social media posts. I had to put one out. Ruben Morales put a nice one out yesterday, commenting on Rivalz post. It was a very nice picture that Lorraine had found. I've never seen that picture with Harper snuggled into my belly, but he so he's the commentator for the World of Outlaws late models, and commented about remember your grassroots and where you all started, because that really hits home. I mean, you can make it to the big leagues and all that stuff, but we all started somewhere.
It was impressive to me how many people liked and commented, because being the head official of anything does not make you very well liked. But by nature, right, you're a polarizing figure. But for the most part, people would rather dislike you than like you. So to see the amount of support that you got had to be heartwarming. And there's going to be a lot of racers this year who realize very quickly, oh my God, I wish we had Doug. Not a knock on Dave Hunsinger, just you've done it for so long and been so consistent, people don't know what they don't know.
Right. I'm gonna miss it. I mean, that's gonna be the biggest thing is missing the grassroots stuff, the stuff at home. But thankfully for you guys, I get to take the privilege of G-Force for the first time and watch it on Friday nights.
This is Doug taking off the backpack of drama he's carried around for 10 years. Oh, it's so much lighter now. Do you know how many people got pissed at you? You know, a couple people don't like you, right, Doug? So for the past 2 months, I've been telling everybody, don't worry, I'm going to fire his ass. You won't have to deal with Doug this summer. And then you quit on us before we could fire you. So, no, brother. Hey, awesome work. We really appreciate it. All the best. You know you're going to be on this program probably more than ever now, because when shit happens out on the road, we got a guy out there. And we're going to need bi-weekly updates on our World of Outlaw date for 2025, okay?
Not a problem, my friends. Thanks, guys.
Congratulations, Doug.
Thanks.
Love you, man. Great job. Wow. It's been a good show. You almost had him crying. Adam. I almost owed you dinner. I should just let it go, but...
It wasn't about that, but it really is. It is a special moment. So I don't know if you knew, Clinton. My dad was a track official at Cayuga back in the late 70s. So they had race cars, but he was also a track official. It's not just a fraternity, but it is a source of great pride. I mean, who doesn't want to make their dad proud?
We've been telling everybody for a long time, like the article you wrote said, Doug's the best, and this definitely validates that. So awesome on the deal. Let's bring in our next role player for the night, dressed as the fire captain, Larry Jackson. We've been talking about costumes, Larry. We've been talking about role-playing costumes a bit tonight, and you showed up in one. So, no, seriously, Larry, you're a NASCAR Canada Series racer. Tell everybody where you're at right now, what your official title is.
Official title is marketing guy, fixer, race car driver.
No, not
hosting.
about your race team. Why you're wearing this? Why
at
you're
work?
wearing the getup? Yeah.
Yeah, we're captain at the City of Mississauga on a rescue truck. We had a massive fire here on Monday. I called the second alarm. I was first into a garage fire that was exploding acetylene, O2, argon, propane tanks. And we did an amazing job and saved the house. It was so close to going defensive, and yeah, we didn't lose the house. It was great. Yeah, it was good save.
Awesome work.
So yeah, I think we had 4 people on the scene. Yeah, it's good. Then we ran after that. We brought 2 people back to life, and we probably ran 20 calls that day. Nuts.
Brought 2 people back. So I often wonder,
So casual.
Is being a firefighter more like getting cats out of trees, or are you saving lives on the daily?
No, we're probably one of the busiest rescue trucks in Canada. We're probably definitely top 5 in Canada, like next to Adelaide, downtown Toronto, and then BC. But our truck runs pretty much 20 calls a day, and we do it all. You name it, we can do it.
And what gets me, Larry, is your schedule. We'll see you work a 24-hour shift and then come out to a NASCAR race the next morning. It's insane you keep up. Let's talk a bit about the differences in the team levels. You've got guys who have everything, guys who got all the money. You got guys like you hanging on to it, probably when you shouldn't be. But you love the sport. I don't mean shouldn't because of ability. I just mean, it's an uphill battle and it gets tougher every year financially to keep the car on the track, Larry. So talk to us about, what are you doing to try to combat those situations, put yourself in a better spot to maybe, other than just writing a bigger check, what can you do to get more parity with the other teams?
I think this year the rules have gotten tightened up. I think the old cars were a little out of control with their front clips and offset in the front ends in the cars. I think that's going to bring everybody back towards us a little bit. We're making this crazy left front spindle with 30-degree camber in it. They've brought that back in, so we're running that. I'm probably going to upgrade a couple of my cars to the new brake system. I think it's about $8,000 a car. Say that quickly. Don't tell Wendy. And then we're updating the cars a little bit. I got a fresh motor for the oval car. The road course car motors only got 4 races on it, so it's good for this year. Just doing our maintenance and getting everything all, all the heim joints all tight and everything all back to normal. We've upgraded some of our equipment at the shop, spent a bit of money. So make things easier because we're all getting a little older. We're using these things more often, and we've got these nice laser levels, so we don't have to read the tape measure when we're scaling the car now. We had them out this week and pairing them to the wireless scales, and the guys are so excited that we're not going to misread a tape measure this year because we're all over 50 now. So,
oh man, how about the rental program, Larry? How many rides are you renting this year?
We have the Down East rides open right now. We've been talking to a few people. That car is really it's a beautiful car. We have one rental at GP3R, and then we're still looking for a dirt rental as well. And then we got Matthew in at CTMP, iCar, and the last CTMP as well.
Larry, what's your favorite track to go to on this series? Like, which one do you feel like you got the best shot to run well at?
Oh, my favorite track is the main reason I'm in this series is because I wanted to learn how to road race, and I love CTMP and I love GP3R. Top 10 there is always a great run, but oval track, I wish they'd bring back Chicasa or like the Kawarthas or something with symmetrical ends. I think I'm pretty good at like the little like Flamborough. I think we came out Flamborough run 3rd all day long with my car, and I think my experience showed there. Maybe a Sunset. I don't know. Chaudier plays into my wheelhouse. I usually just drive around and survive and finish like 5 or 5th to 8th, I guess, usually there. Oh, there we are.
Isn't that a good looking car?
That's a great looking car.
That's a good shot.
Hopefully
leading
we can.
Way over some.
I think we're leading. We let a lap there. That was always nice. Leading a lap at CTMP.
What's left for you, Larry? I mean, you've got many years left in you. You're in great shape. You can do this as long as you can stand it. What do you look forward to in the coming years?
I think I'm at the end of my career. It's time to pass it on to the next generation. Like I could see Matthew in my car. Maybe Howie and I can take him and try and build him up to something in the future. Matthew's got a lot of talent, and he's been trying so hard in his marketing program to find money, as we do as well. We are a lot of no's this year, which is unfortunate, but that's society nowadays. And I think it's gonna be a tough year, and it's gonna be another building year for NASCAR. Next year sounds like it's gonna be pretty epic with Alan LaBrosse at the helm here. So excited for next year, really. But another year older, and it's time. I don't know when we're going to hang it up. Wendy says this year, but we'll see.
I think you still got too much drive in you, Larry. Let's talk about the state of affairs. New leadership with Alan LaBrosse, seems to be working this thing hard. They had a big presence at Motorama this year, and NASCAR seems to be really giving it full throttle this year. How's your feeling on the state of affairs with the series and where it's headed?
Like always in the fall, you're quite worried, and with Motorama and everything coming together, and new drivers coming out for more races, even like today. I think everything's coming together, and it always does after Daytona and Motorama, and get the blood flowing and get the cars, getting the cars prepared, and sponsors are starting to come in, trickle in slowly, and everybody gets a little more excited, and the guys are coming to the shop more often, and yeah, we need a little more, but we're getting there. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good year for NASCAR and our little team.
What was announced today, Larry? I didn't hear anything, but I
knew you were gonna ask. I don't know the gentleman's name.
I do. Simon Charbonneau announced he's going to be running road courses this year, Adam, with a look at a full season next year. The 88 car Simon Charbonneau.
Right on. I don't pay attention until the day before CTMP, because nothing matters until the Friday of CTMP. It's all bullshit.
And true, and there's a lot of that. Yeah.
Adam's so good he doesn't need to do no prep. Larry, get back to work. We appreciate you jumping on the call here tonight.
Anytime, boys. Thank you for everything.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. Good talking to you, man. Always good.
Stay safe out there, brother.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
Larry Jackson, Captain Larry Jackson, taking time away from the Mississauga Rescue Department to join us here. We appreciate Larry. Man, what a great guy. He can't go nowhere.
I wanted to ask who set up the computer for him, because he didn't.
He's still there. Bring him back, Spencer, just so he can tell Adam off. You heard that right, Larry. I said, tell him.
Come on. I'm getting better.
No, who set it up for you?
Wendy set it up initially, but like years ago. I just push Zoom now and it shows up, right? I don't have her just for her pretty face. She's a pretty brilliant corporate girl, so.
I brought you back to make him look bad, and you proved his point. Get out of here.
I know, but I did it myself. Thanks, Adam.
Bye.
Attaboy, Larry. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
It's great when all our brothers can stop by and shoot the shit with us here on Tuesdays.
It is
well, next week, Todd Lewis confirmed he'll be in next week to talk about Indy cars, NASCAR, every car. We still got some good topics to go through. Adam, before we get rolling too far, anything you want to talk about Port Royal?
Yeah.
Run the picture, Spencer, while he talks.
What a phenomenal facility. Keep in mind, this is not dirt modified country. All right, this is sprint car country. They get up for the World Outlaw late model type deals, and that was the pit grandstand. That's all that was the pit area grandstand, jam packed. But the promoter down there, Steve, did such an amazing job rebuilding that racetrack from Friday to Saturday. Our Club Wago family, Clinton, the Weekneck family, so good to see them. But the effort that went into prepping this track, the crowds that showed up for a modified race, and it is a big drive. That right rear tire, I believe the driver's name there is Kyle Smith. there was nothing left of that tire, and he cruised that car to a podium finish. These drivers, to see so many faces that I started my career with Leaf Racewear. So in the racing business, we were big in that part of the country. So to see a bunch of these people that I hadn't seen for a long, long time. Now this is just before. Look at Matt's in the car, helmets on. They've called the drivers to their car. They're ready to go. And here's one of the top teams in the Northeast making a last-minute adjustment. They were working in that top secret left rear area of the car. There's the infield reporter. He's coming around to have a look at what's going on. And they had some last-minute ideas. They thought, you know what, we need to make this little change. And, man, it was right down to the wire to get that done.
So that wasn't a problem. Those were optional changes at the end there?
That was an adjustment they wanted to make in the left rear. They rebuilt the racetrack between the sportsman race and the modified race. And it was quite a bit of downtime, but man, they built a beautiful racing surface to watch these teams. My favorite part of the whole program, I knew Sean Reimer for a long time through Leaf Race, where he was one of the drivers we sponsored. Had no idea Loudon Reimer was his son. So bumped into him, and it was great to catch up with him and chatted. We stopped by a few times. It was a long night. Their team celebrated like they'd won the Daytona 500 when Loudon came out of turn 4 and finished third. They're running across pit road, jumping up and down. To see that energy was Matt Shepard won $50,000 plus points fund, so $65,000. It was just another day at the office for Matt. Billy Decker finished second. He's done that lots of times. He's won a ton of races. But for Loudon Reimer in that 58 car to finish third and to see the joy out of that race team. For Dalton Slack, Dalton was right there. If he hadn't run out of fuel, he was right there with him for a top 5 run. So those things were really awesome to see. It was awesome to see a premier event in the spring like this because you don't see that very often.
The last thing you had on your list of things to talk about was balancing the stream versus the crowd. What were you talking about there?
The fact that, and that's a discussion, we want to have a panel discussion. I got to talk to Mike Mallett and George Smith. They were down there from DTD TV. The commentating could have been better for that show. Did you watch it, Clint?
Yeah, but it's the standard STS guys, right? And the one guy was the sprint car guy from Port Royal.
It just didn't. It didn't flow. There's people that aren't used to announcing a stream. You're kind of you can't talk down to the crowd. You can't. It is a fine balancing act, and we've taken years. I still don't think we're as good at it as we need to be, Clint. But I think we're more conscious of how to. You can't offend the crowd that paid to come out and see the show. You also can't offend the crowd that's paying to watch it from home. But the final thing I will say about Port Royal, I loved being able to watch the action at the back of the pack. I don't get to watch many races where I'm not at least putting one eye on a screen to make sure we're covering the action. It was really cool to watch people race for 20th spot.
Well, if there's one downfall about the stream, it's you only get to see what we show you, right? And nobody is ever happy with who we show. They're just not. You show the leader, they want to see the back to back. Everybody wants to see their driver. You didn't show 10th place enough. And we're trying to balance what a first-time viewer, what makes sense for telling the story to a one-timer. Great discussion. We go on and on about all that, too. Thursday,
we do want to have a panel discussion. Get Mallett, get George Smith, get a bunch of people that are involved, Stephen Evans, people that do it all, and just talk about how things have changed over the last 5 years in presenting a car race. Sorry, Clint.
Oh, good. Last Thursday, I met with the Marsh family, and they came to Ohsweken, and we took them around the GSR shop, had about an hour chat with them. So their plan for Buxton is looking pretty straightforward. All the same classes in play. If I look here, practice will be Friday, May 3rd and Saturday, May 4th. Opening night will be May 11th. And looks like they're going to go into late September. So good luck to them. And I've been helping them out where we can. A couple other things. They're back with the ODCC, so they will be running ODCC Thunder stocks and a few weeks of mini stocks as well. So any of the mini stock guys who want to try out Southern Ontario Motor Speedway, South Bucks, you can go down there, check that out. They're working on a schedule. Hope to have it out before their drivers' meeting, which is this weekend. So I think you may see a Southern Ontario Motor Speedway schedule out before the weekend. In some capacities, they're trying to get out before their drivers' meeting, and I think it's a registration meeting. I think it's Sunday. So that's what we got there. Wish them all the best. They've announced some more SOS dates. They're going to have a couple great sprint races as well, and just trying to put it all together. So we wish them the best. NASCAR situation, Adam, they had a tire problem too on the weekend. Wow, did you see any of the Sunday action at NASCAR? Massive,
Yep.
Tire issue. I kind of liked it. I know it's not ideal for the sport, but man, it brings back strategy. It brings back the guys who have to, work this. The veterans come to play because you could tell you had to make your stuff last. I was a big fan of it. What were your thoughts on the tire situation? Obviously not ideal, but I'm okay when the tires are wearing out. Maybe not to that degree.
No, you know what? I thought it was fantastic. I was impressed with the drivers as well, that they didn't tear up a bunch of stuff. Like, you see tire failures, you often see cars careen into the wall, or if the right front goes down going into the corner. What we were seeing was tires go away and then just fall right off. You get down to the cords, they can barely drive on them. I thought it was a fun race to watch. It was unpredictable. It was impressive, 2 wide, 3 wide racing, and the crowd. I thought the crowd was phenomenal.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a second. I saw another piece, when it came down to the tires. Obviously I think, perfect situation. If you're going to have a bad tire day, you want it at the slowest track on the place, shortest track. That was good. You don't want those problems at Darlington or Atlanta or anywhere like that where someone's going to get hurt. I thought the way at the end where they were basically just pedaling, like they were like on ice. So tires are still up, but the terms the announcer using was shut off. The car has shut off because of tires. I thought that was an interesting term, right? I saw a neat thing about the NASCAR attendance today at Bristol. Everybody bitches about the spring race at Bristol, but the place holds 160,000+ people. It was built in NASCAR in its heyday when things were as best as they could be. It's overbuilt. So people are bitching about 68,000 people or whatever it was at Bristol on Sunday. Well, the week before, Phoenix was sold out at 38,000. And nobody said a shit word about that because it looked jammed. It's like the same problem we have at Rush Weekend. We can seat 5,000 people. So even a 2,500 people crowd on a Friday, which is huge out front, looks like there's nobody there still, So I thought that was a good take on the Bristol thing. Excuse me, it's overbuilt.
The other thing about Oshwegan, Clinton, look at the backstretch stands.
Yeah.
We put more people in our pit grandstands at Oshwegan than a lot of racetracks put in their spectator stands.
Yeah, true that.
Not that it needs defending. It is what it is. We always want more. But I thought it was a good show.
Is Max hurt in F1? Show that screenshot, Spencer. So this is winners of the last 20 Grand Prix. One guy, not Max Verstappen. Good, bad, or ugly for the sport, Adam?
For the sport, it is what it is. The best is the best. Even Tiger Woods didn't win like that. You talk about the best from any sport in any time, and nobody has dominated like Max Verstappen has in a long, long time. I think it's not really good for the entertainment value of the sport. I don't understand how it can happen. He is the best right now. He's the best driver driving the best car. Is he that much better? Like, he's got to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just when Formula One was starting to make headways into all of us roundy round guys, and we all started to get into it, and the Netflix special was helping, and then Max comes out and absolutely stinks up the show. The worst that we've ever seen a show stunk up. Every week do you think, I know what Bob Slack would have done 4 generations ago. He would have grabbed Verstappen by the ear and said, "Hey, boy, you better let somebody pass you or get close to you at least, because I'm not going to sell no tickets here if you keep this shit up. So, and we showed the graphic last year to answer your question, or last week. He is that freaking good. His lap times are repeatable to the thousandth. Like, it's crazy to see what he can do.
It's crazy. It's impressive. But still, I got to believe there's someone who must be able to contend with him.
We're going to find out here. But so far, he's best guy, best car. Maybe we do a car shuffle. Let's see if he can come from the back in a Sauber or something. All right. Slot car track, Adam. You sent emails? You didn't say much. What's this about?
No, you know what? I was down at Jim Swear's place, and I'm having a brain fart. It's P. Strating. I believe it's Paul Strating, who has this slot car track at home. He wanted the G-Force logo because he's got the stickers and scuffs as well. He wants to put a bunch of signage around this track. But the detail and the effort that he has put into this slot car track, Spencer, go ahead and show some of the footage. Like, he's even got all the people, so he wants to see some of the G-Force apparel because he actually has an announcing team that covers his slot car track. It was just really cool, I thought. The effort that goes into this, the amount of detail that there is, and we get a bunch of pit shots, hand-cooked tires.
I do love it.
It was just really neat, and the fact that he wants to carry on and represent some local media and local sponsors to line. When Spencer shows the track, did you get any of the track shots that I sent, Spencer?
No, the pictures you sent were just 5 pictures from the pit area.
Well, that's bizarre. I thought there should have been 3 emails. Oh. All right, well, this is going to be a 3-part series. This week, we're showing the pits, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, we're going to show the racing surface. And the week after that, we're going to show the broadcast team.
You know what?
How'd I do?
There are 3 emails. My mistake. I only thought you had 1 there. Oh, crap. Spencer.
It's cool, right?
We've been both CC'd on this. I don't know if you can pull any of them quickly or not, but I think next week, we'll give the full rundown next week. Yep. Probably best.
So you must have been thinking, what a buffoon. Well, yes, I'm like, oh,
I guess there's an Adam story behind these 5 cars. I didn't argue.
No, it sounded. Thank you, Spencer.
Yeah. All right, we'll do that next week. A full shot. I'll leave it on the rundown. But I definitely, I mean, I'm the one who always brings these cars to the videos of the week. Spencer, did we get that video of the week, by the way, the one I asked you to get? Don't know. Dead air. He's looking. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, Adam, this is a kid on like a coasting bike. You want to know how you get your kids ready for racing? This. Do we have sound, Spencer? The kid is just awesome. Like, dad just doesn't care. Go for it. Get those balls. Land on your face. Whatever it takes. Now, this is good parenting. Screams at mom. Play it again, Spencer. When it starts from again. But look at this kid. He's got agility. He ain't scared of nothing. I love this dad. Whoever's doing this, good on you, Dad. Look at this. Kids.
Oh.
Play it again, Spencer, quickly from the top. I love this. We don't got to see the whole thing yet. I thought the dog was chasing him when I first saw it. But the dog just playing. Look at this kid. Fearless. Off the roof. This one gets me. Oh, okay, that's enough. You know, parents, you want to get your kids some racing? Want to drive a sprint car one day, maybe motocross? That's how you get big balls on your kid. Let them fall on their face 10 times a day. There was nobody there to pick us up. We had to make it work. Last topic. A screenshot. Sprint cars and 410s. You know, 410s versus 360s. So this is the USAC East Coast sprint cars talking about, they're switching to a 410 option from a 360, Adam. And what gets me is it says, the decision comes off of based on watching a significant number of teams already having 410 engines. Basically, it says that they're outcasting the 360. So is there a time here when we're going to see 360s be taken out of the deal? Here it is. Potential teams coming in series about the long-range outcast. So not forecast, outcast of 360 racing, which has seen a decline in the area, along with on a national level, with prices of 360 engines rivaling the cost of some 410s. So that's what I want to show, Spencer. So this is a 360 division going to 410s on them. And this is something that one or two racers have said to me around here in the past 2-3 years. How long till 360s have outpriced themselves and we see the 360s totally go away to the point that we're now 410s across North America only? Valid point. I think we need some more sprint car input on, but
keep something in mind. Nobody cares. Nobody from the backstretch forward at the racetrack gives two shits how many cubic inches the engines have in those cars. You cannot tell the difference between 360 and a 410. So it's almost inside baseball. It's like, remember when all those home runs got hit? Oh, what did they do into the balls? Somebody has to care about that. All the fans care is they want outfield seats so they can catch home runs because people are hitting lots of them. So it really is something that it's our problem to figure out how to keep the sport healthy, right? Because costs have escalated. So I think the person who's able to marry those two engines together on the track at the same time, they might be onto something.
Yeah, could come down to the day, just like modifies, we have so many different divisions, if we could get everybody under one. That's going to do it for the show. We are way over time, 7 minutes over time tonight. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks to our guests for stopping by. Thanks for everybody for coming into view. Let us know who you want to have on the program. We'll get working on it. Anything else you want to add here, Adam?
That was a fun show. Do yourselves a favor, folks. Take a road trip. That was as far as Connor and Connor even pointed that out. He says, we've never gone this far to go to a race before. How cool is it that my 19-year-old was willing to spend a weekend with me just to drive down and go to a car race? It's what it's all about. Spending that time seeing someplace new, eating shitty gas station food, and having an experience. It was 6 hours, 15 minutes from Cambridge to Port Royal.
Whew. But what a spot.
Oh, the roads were sketchy. I thought the GPS was messing with me. You would not believe some of the roads we traveled down.
You said that. You would have been able to drive there. Thank God Connor could do it. Well, we got your back, buddy. Won't be long now. We're just about 2 months before the Ontario racing season kicks off in full swing. We'll be there to follow along with you. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. We'll see you next week.